Hello, my name is Sakshi, and today I am going to explain about the topic human tissues. The human body consists of four main types of tissues, each specialized to perform different functions. These tissues are from the building blocks of organ and organ systems. There are some types of human tissues. There are mainly four types of human tissues. First type is epithelial tissues. Function of epithelial tissues is to protect shield underlying tissues from mechanical injury, from pathogen, and from dehydration. It protects. Example is skin. The second function of epithelial tissue is absorption. It absorbs nutrients. Example is lining of small intestine. The third function of epithelial tissue is to secretion. It produces and releases substances like sweat, mucus, enzymes, and hormones. Examples are glands. The fourth is excretion. It removes waste product. Example, kidney tubules. And then the fifth is a sensation. It contains nerves ending to detect the stimuli. Example is skin. There are a few characteristics of epithelial tissues. First is cell arrangement. Cells of epithelial tissues are tightly packed with minimal intracellular space. Polarity. It has an apical surface and a basal surface attached to the basement membrane. The third is avascular. It lacks blood vessels. It relies on diffusion of nutrients from underlying tissues. Fourth is regeneration. It has high capacity of renewal due to the frequent exposure to the wear and tear. There are a few types of epithelial tissue. The first type is simple epithelium. It is a single layer of cells. There are further types of epithelial tissue in simple epithelium. First is simple squamous epithelium. These are flat cells. Uh, the example is lining out of blood vessels. Then simple cuboidal. These is cube shaped cells. Example is kidney tubules. Then the simple columnar epithelial tissues. These are tall cells, lining of tall cells. The example is lining of stomach and intestines. The second type is stratified epithelial tissues. These are multiple layer of cells. The first type is stratified squamous epithelial. The example of stratified squamous is skin. Then the stratified cuboidal epithelial tissue. The example is sweat glands. Then the stratified columnar epithelial tissues. The example is male urethra. Then third type is glandular epithelium, specialized for secretion. The example of glandular epithelium is endocrine and exocrine glands. Then the next type of tissues is connective tissues. The function of connective tissue is is it forms support and structure, forms the framework of the body. Examples are bone. Then it provide binding. It connects organ and tissues. Example is ligament and tendons. Then it protects. It provides the cushions and protect organ. Example is fat and bone. um, then it also provide transportation function. It circulate blood, oxygen in the body in the form of blood. Then it also provide the function of storage. It stores energy in adipose tissue and minerals in like calcium in bones. The characteristics of connective tissue. The first characteristic is matrix. It is consist of fibrous, like collagen, and ground substance, like fluid, gel, and or solid. Then cell type. In a cell type, it includes fibroblasts blast and adipocytes, chondrocytes, osteocytes, and blood cells. Then the type of connective tissue. The first type is loose connective tissue. The example of loose connective tissue is areolar. Yeah, example is it binds the skin underlying the tissues. Then adipose, also adipose tissues, like it acts as fat storage. Then the second type of connective tissue is dense connective tissue. uh, it has further types. First is regular. Examples of regular is tendons and ligaments. Then second is irregular. The example of irregular is dermis of skin. Then third type of connective tissue is specialized connective tissue. It has further types. First is cartilages. Cartilages provide flexible support, like examples is ear and joints. Then bones. Bones are provide rigid support. Then blood, which transport nutrients, gases, and waste. Third type of tissue is muscle tissue. The functions of muscle tissue is to provide movement. It enables the body movement and locomotion. And then further function is to maintain posture of the body. It means maintain body posture. Then it it also provide function in heat production. It generate heat during the muscle contraction. The characteristic of uh, muscle tissue is first is contractibility. It has ability to contract and generate force. Then excitability. It responds to the stimuli. And third is elasticity. um, it returns to the original length after stretching. Then there are further types of muscle tissue. The first type is skeletal muscle. These tissues are long, cylindrical, and multinucleated, and striated fibers. It controls voluntary functions. These tissues are attached to the bones for the movement. Then second type of muscle tissue is smooth muscle tissues. These are These are spindle shaped, single nucleus non strated tissues. It controls involuntary movements. These tissues are located on the walls of internal organs. Example is stomach, intestines, and blood vessels. Then third type of muscular tissue is cardiac muscle tissues. These are branched, straighted, fibrous, and intercalated tissue disc. Um, these are these controls involuntary movements. The location of these tissues found only in the heart. Then fourth type of tissue is nervous tissue. The function of nervous tissue is to provide communication. It transmit electrical signals between different parts of the body. Then it also process and integrate a sensory input and motor output for the body. Then it coordinates and regulates body functions. Then also the characteristics of nervous tissues uh, these are composed of neurons. These are functional units of the nervous tissues. And glial cells, these are supporting cells. These cells are specialized to generate and conduct nerve impulse. The component of nervous tissue first is neuron. Neurons are the neurons have structure. Structure. It contains the cell body, which contains nucleus and cell organelles. Then the dendrites, which receive signals from the other neurons. Then axon, which transmit signals to the other neurons or muscles. Then the function of neurons, it transmits signals rapidly. The second cell is in nervous tissue is glial cell. Yeah, the function of glial cell is to provide support and protection and insulation to the to the neurons. The location of glial cell is in brain, spinal cord, and uh, around the peripheral nerves. Uh, no, Peripheral nerves. These four tissues works in a coordination to maintain the body's structure and function, and homeostasis. For instance, muscle tissues enable movement. Epithelial tissues line the and protect the organs. Connective tissue supports structure, and nervous tissue ensures the communication and transmission of signals and regulation. That was it for today's topic. Thank you.